Okay, welcome everybody to our, I'm gonna guess 18th annual Thanksgiving Day fundraiser. All of the funds we raise are going to the Open Door Pantry at the 3rd Street Methodist Church, right? It's an open door pantry, which means you just go in and take what you want whenever you want. And if you can afford to leave money, leave money. If you can't, just take what you want. You can leave what you want and take what you want. They also, in case you don't know, take perishable foods and prepared foods. So if you ever find yourself making too much of something, you can freeze it and put it in the freezer there.
Oh, nice.
They also have some good expired vegan things, because I think somebody from Basil Bandwagon brings over this stuff before they get thrown out, which is still really good and tasty. So
So would they take something like make a cake and for a party and eat half of it and
I don't
freeze
think-
the rest of it?
maybe if you slice it up and put it in single serving containers, and you can do that. I wouldn't present half a cake. You know.
Have a cake. No?
Half a turkey.
Yeah, but that's the kind of thing that like I want to get rid of.
Yeah, so
because I
slice
don't
it up
wanna
and
eat it.
box it in those individual containers, and I'm sure it'll be appreciated. Okay, and we're gonna start. So throughout class, I'll be giving modifications for things that we're doing, and you're welcome to choose whatever kind of modification you would like. Just be easy with yourself and take it slow. You know, we're not doing any heroic things today. Well, we are doing heroic things today, but not on the physical level. Okay, all right, well, let's begin by sitting up tall and comfortably. So if you're comfortable with your legs crossed, do that. If not, you may stretch them out or sit on your knees, however you like. Reach up through the crown of the head. Focus in on your breath. And these first few breaths that we take are really for you to decide if the position you've chosen is the one that you want to maintain. You're not going to sit here for half an hour, but if I told you you're going to sit here for half an hour, would you be okay? And so if not, you're free to fidget around until you find what we call Stiram Sukham Asana. It's Sanskrit for steady, comfortable seat. And when we come into doing something heroic and bold, we need to not have to worry about how we are positioned, how our body is feeling. So make yourself comfortable. And that way you can settle into the breath. You can settle into a stiller mind that is more still than usual. And you can settle into a rhythm. The inhale lifts and expands, and the exhale sinks and relaxes. And I was going to say this is a low stress day, but maybe that's not true for you. It's a low stress day because you don't have to do what you usually do. And in that way, your mind may already be a little bit still, but then again, being taken out of your usual activities may actually make the mind busier because we don't have the rhythm and structure that's usual for us to focus on. But just notice what is for you right now. Your breathing, your physical body, how your mind is moving, or is it still? Just set the scene. Just like if you were going to a big feast, you may check out everything that's there before deciding what you're going to put on your plate, so you don't fill up on something too ordinary. We don't want to fill up our mind right now with ordinary thoughts. We want to see if we can take something a little bit more unique with us. And today, we are going to be focusing on heart openers. So physically heart openers and also energetically and mentally heart openers. And the question may arise for you, as it has for me many times. What does stretching our arms back and our shoulders back do for us, really? We could say chest openers, but we say heart openers. Physical heart, the heart muscle. It's true that if we stretch open and we relax the musculature in the chest area, the heart will be able to beat with more ease. It won't be fighting against tightness. So this is good for the heart organ to exercise the upper body, to release the fascial restrictions, the muscular restrictions, and to shift the bones around a little bit. This also helps with synovial fluids that are moving around and gives more freedom for the heart to move as it needs to do the best job for you. On an energetic level, we open up the space because much like if you were going to hit a target with something, you'd like that target to be big, right? So if you're doing archery or marksmanship, it's good to have a big center. It's more likely that you are going to hit your target. So we want to make the heart center bigger, more obvious to us so that we can hit it with our awareness, so that we can drop into it. So energetically, we open up the energetic heart center through heart openers. Mentally, emotionally, we want to observe what it is that pulls us out of the heart so that we can reconcile it and drop it back into the heart. The heart center has to do with the air element. The air element has to do with us doing, busyness, things that reflect back to the I, me, my. So energetically, emotionally, mentally, we want the heart to experience many different emotions. And we'll hear some poems today that will take us through a variety of emotional experiences. Some will be heart-wrenching. Some will be uplifting. Some might be confusing. See if you can allow yourself during the poetry reading to feel what your body is experiencing. Because the feeling, the air element is about feeling, touching, experiencing, will help us to energetically open the heart. So we'll start right now by taking the right hand to the right side of the heart, the left hand to the left side of the heart. Palms facing each other, and there's space in between the palms. And just feel what that's like to have the energetic heart center bracketed by your primary limbs or tools of doing. We do so much with our hands, even more now than we used to, now that we're texting and emailing and all of that. So much is done with the hands, these organs of doing. Well, they're not organs, but let's say they're organs. It's easier for me. So here they are, the oppositions, the right, the left, the masculine, the feminine, the sun, the moon, polar opposites represented by the right side and the left side. The part of you that wants to move out into the world and the part of you that wants to move into stillness and spend more time with yourself. Feel these oppositions moving together. Just like a magnet, when you have the North and the South Pole, the oppositions, they pull the magnets together. Feel your hands being pulled together. And what is this magnetic force? It's the force of us, individual us, wanting to be united with our true selves, wanting to come home, wanting to experience the divine, wanting to experience unity, however you might put it. It is the thing that you have always longed for. Not the job, not the house, not the car, not the friends, not the titles, but the thing that you have always longed for is now pulling the oppositions together. And at some point, these hands are going to touch in Anjali Mudra, which is we call prayer position, that rests at the heart center. When the hands come together at this time or some other time during your practice, what you might experience is an explosion of stillness. When the oppositions are reconciled, we fall into the space of the heart. Whether or not your hands have made it together or not, imagine if your hands are together, create a little bit of space at the little finger side and breathe like the hands are now a funnel. You're breathing in through the heart, through the hands, right into the heart. And you're breathing out in the same direction. Breathe in through that little or large opening in the hands. And like a funnel that might create a vortex of energy, the inhale spins and drills down into the very center of your heart. And you may either experience that the exhale takes that outer energy and expands into the space of the heart, or you breathe it back out the same way. But have the intention that what you're breathing out is the stuff that keeps you, the veils that keep you from moving into the heart, the doingness. I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to accomplish this, I have to be somebody. We're going to breathe that out because those are all veils of ignorance that we have to be somebody. And we have to be somebody specific based on our histories, our karma, what our parents, what our ancestors have said, what our leaders have said, what advertising has said. You're going to breathe out that ignorance and breathe in the pure light of consciousness. Let it spiral into the heart. And imagine you're breathing away the veils of ignorance. Now we're going to intone the pranava. Pranava means a sound that expands consciousness. We're going to intone the pranava Om together. And we can use many different understandings of Om, but let's go with this one today, is that Om as a universal sound helps us to touch on something universal. And the universal always implies something larger than the individual. So when we chant Om, we are asking for the energy of the expansive universe to be more aware, more abundant, more present for us than the energy of the individual. So take in a deep breath. Now, if it was as easy as chanting 3 Oms to dispel all the ignorance that we have collected over lifetimes, the world would be a much different place. So we continue the work. Take your hands and now start to separate them slowly and feel your desire to meet the thing that you have always desired, even if you don't know what it is. You know, we all have this feeling that there's a hole, something is missing, something, if we had this, everything would be okay. That desire to find that expands, pushing the hands apart. And now it's taking the individual back into the unified consciousness, because we all desire that same thing, to be happy and whole. So take that individual want and spread it out and let it meet not only everybody in the room, but everybody, all beings everywhere. And then when you feel ready, drop your hands and just feel that desire on the outside now, the one that you keep hidden deep inside of you, the secret, even oftentimes from our own self, is now all around you and offered to the space. Take a moment or two to breathe that in, breathe that possibility that your desire to be whole and happy, now everybody knows that. And everybody is working towards that for you, because when you're whole and happy, so are they. It's a crazy thing. And if that leaves you with a little bit of feeling of vulnerability, great, because vulnerability means the heart has just opened. Okay, let's open the eyes softly and see all of those desires out in the space. Remember, they're all one, so maybe everything looks exactly the same, or maybe there's a little bit of glimmer. We're going to take the legs out, stretch them out. I know I said we weren't actually going to be here for half an hour, but maybe it felt like that for you. And as we move through our asanas, one of the intentions is that we can sit like that for longer and longer as we condition the body to do so. Okay, let's come up onto hands and knees, and we are going to start cat and dog tails. Can you just see? Let me just see the palms. Let me see the palms. Okay, so you're going to do that now.
Yeah.
So hands and knees, and we're going to come into cat and dog tails. Exhale, rounding the spine, pressing the spine up to the ceiling. And inhale, dropping the spine towards the front seam, letting the belly expand. If for some reason you're not comfortable on hands and knees, you can come to lay down on your back and do a similar position.
This is an untitled poem by Edna St. Vincent Millay. Say what you will, my heart, to roots of last year's roses in my breast. I am as surely riper in my mind as if the fruit stood in the stalls confessed. Laugh at the unshed leaf, say what you will. Call me in all things what I was before, a flutterer in the wind, a woman still. I tell you I am what I was and more. My branches weigh me down, frost cleans the air, my sky is black with small birds bearing south. Say what you will, confuse me with fine care. Put by my word as but an April truth. Autumn is no less on me, that a rose hugs the brown bough and sighs before it goes.
Please know as we move through any pose that child's pose is always available to you, or laying on your back is always available to you. Shouldn't feel shy about coming into any of those. We are going to come into a thread the needle pose, and I will demonstrate it. So if you don't know it, you can watch me first and then come into it. We're going to be on hands and knees, and we're going to take the left arm up, reach it open, keep both elbows slightly bent. Navel center reaches in even here. And then we thread that left arm underneath the right armpit. Now you can have a block under your head. This is a really nice place to do that. Your right thumb, you should be able to see it, and your elbow points straight up to the sky.
So forearm is perpendicular to the ground, elbows bent at about a 90-degree angle. And then you're gonna take that right shoulder blade and slide it back towards your spine. Your shoulder's resting on the ground, or some part of your left arm is resting on the ground. Just let it rest down. Your knuckles are resting on the ground and your palm is facing up. So remember, since we're working with the air element, we are working with touch and doing. So let the right hand do and let the left hand not. Feel the ground under the right hand and the nothingness in the left. Keep rolling that right shoulder blade back towards the spine, and you're starting to open up the right collarbone. So yeah, the right collarbone. That was right. Okay, let's come on up. And now we're going to reverse that. You're going to take your left leg and reach it out behind you, turn the toes under, plant them down into the ground. Then spin the heel down to the ground. So the outside edge of your foot is parallel to the back of your mat, and you're going to take the left arm up. Now bend both elbows straight behind you, like the points are pointing to the right side of the mat. Turn your heart center up to the sky and see if you can squeeze your shoulder blades together behind your back. So make sure your elbows are bent. And again, feel the doingness of the right hand and the nothingness in the left. So have that left hand really soft, really relaxed. Navel center pulls into the spine, tailbone moves towards the left side of your mat, and present that heart up to the sky. Touch the breath. As more that we can touch what we are doing right now, the texture, the temperature, the movement of the breath, the texture, temperature, and of the mat, of the pose, what you're feeling in your body, all of what we touch and give attention to is going to take us into the heart. Okay, let's take the left hand down and the left knee down, cat and dog tilt or child's pose. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing on the right side. So take your right arm up, roll open. Both elbows bent, and try to keep the softness in the right hand, non-doing. And then we're going to slide it under the left armpit. Your left hand is going to be on the ground. Your left thumb should be, you should be able to see it. Your forearm is perpendicular to the ground and your elbows bent at a 90-degree angle. So you can push down into the left hand, roll the left side, lower the left side seam up to the ceiling. Have your head on something and your right shoulder relax down onto something. Tailbone reaches towards your inner knee, especially if you feel this in your lower back and it's not comfortable. And breathe into whatever you're feeling. Right, you can follow my my alignment cues and feel what I'm guiding you to feel, or if they don't make sense, then just go in and feel what you're feeling and breathe. Feel the non-doing of experience. I mean, you do put yourself in a pose so you can feel something different than just sitting around, right? But once you're there, just feel. And we can actually feel a lot when we're doing nothing. We just need to practice that. So first we practice doing a lot so we can feel something. And we can trust that just feeling something and not thinking about it, not manufacturing it, not manipulating it, is going to give us what we want. Surrender and just see what's here. Because really that's all we can do in life. What is here is here. We don't have control of everything, or really, some may say, anything. Okay, let's come on out. And then we're going to take the right leg out, turn the toes under, turn the tailbone under, and then spin your heel down to the ground. We'll take the right arm up. So anchor the outside edge of your right foot into the ground, bend both elbows, squeeze elbow points towards each other. That's going to take your shoulder blades with them. And tailbone, your tailbone's going to move to the right side of your mat. Reach your head long away from your heel. And let go of the effort. surrender the doing and just experience what is. Okay, let's take that hand down, child's pose, cat and dog tilts, or downward facing dog if you would like to do downward facing dog. If you are coming into downward facing dog and feel like you'd like to make your way through vinyasa, you are absolutely welcome to do that. Okay, we are going to come up to sit. Take your legs out in front of you, sit up on a blanket. Have your feet flat to the ground with your knees bent. And what we're going to do is we're going to roll to the tailbone, pull your belly button in and contract these pectoral muscles here, like you're isometrically pulling the upper arm bones towards each other in front of your body. And then we're going to do the opposite. We're going to squeeze between the shoulder blades, move the arm bones back, and then exhale, squeeze together, and then inhale, pull forward. It'll be good to have your feet about as wide as your mat, so you can let your belly move forward and then back. And then if you want to emphasize the work in the upper body, shoulder blades together on the in-breath, upper arm bones towards each other on the out-breath. And you can think, of course, of this area. So this area in our body, from the chest up to the crown of the head, is known as the region of Kapha. Kapha is earth, it's stability, it's devotion, it is love. So the more we work this area, the more we understand the concept of love. And if you're asking yourself, what does the heart center, what does love have to do with being grateful? Is anybody asking themselves that? Good. Okay, then I don't have to.
Everything.
Everything. Our gratitude is going to be the easiest, the most abundant when we can be grateful for whatever shows up. So the open heart is one that feels and experiences without judgment. The heart center is said to be the place where everything is reconciled. All dualities are reconciled. If you know the symbol of the heart, it is the six-pointed triangle. It's the energy of 3 moving up and the energy of 3 moving down. And at some point they come together and they're equally balanced. And they hover there in a mutual desire for openness, a mutual desire for unity. Okay, let's come to the front. We're going to take our right leg and drop it open to the side. And then how are you going to modulate this pose is if you have your foot more to the center or more to the left side of the mat. So you can start, let's say, midway between those 2 points. That's not midway. Yeah, that's midway. Now we're going to take the right arm up, 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 and then reach it over. Plant your left hand down. Reach your right arm over as you push your right sit bone down into the ground. I notice I didn't tell you which is going to be easier, right? The foot. And then come up, and then you're going to take your elbow to the outside of your knee. Now you know what's easier is more towards the center of the mat than the outside of the mat. Outside of the knee, other knee. Thumb. Put your hand on the other knee. Yeah. And you're going to twist here. So you're going to use the leverage of your elbow to rotate yourself around to the left side. If it's difficult to get your elbow there, you can walk your foot towards the center of the mat. And then it will be a little less difficult. It may feel a little squished. Does it feel a little squished? All right, well, we're just making room for more food today. Okay, now take your left knee and push into your elbow. So you're going to push it open to the left. Now, here's the secret heart opener. Secret. Once I tell you, it won't be a secret anymore because I'm recording. You're going to start to rotate your chest towards the front right corner of your mat. Take your hand. Lift your heart center up. You should feel something over here or in the back. Yeah. And if you want to feel more, push that knee open to the left. If you want to feel less, push that knee towards the right. Let the knee be your rudder. And are you breathing? Breathing, the wind element, the air element or wind element is the element of the heart. And what creates wind? I don't know. But if you put your hand here and you breathe, you're going to feel what you can say is wind, right? There's movement. So the wind implies there's got to be some movement. We are only aware of air when it moves or when we don't have it. Isn't that true? Or if it's too cold or too hot. So movement allows us to have more awareness of it. So the more you breathe, the more an invitation you have to the space of the heart. Okay, let's take that right arm down, then roll the right shoulder, and then roll it around in the other way. So when we encourage constant breathing in yoga, it's not, I mean, there's a lot of physical reasons, obviously. You can still breathe. We're going to change sides, drop the left knee open and the right knee is going to come up. And we're going to take the right hand down and reach the left arm over. So it's always good to keep breathing because it's what keeps us alive. But awareness to your breath also gives us awareness of the heart center. And what does that give us? More awareness of the pathway to what it is we always wanted. Okay, come on up. Be done. Fold your blanket up so you can come up higher. It'll be easier for you to sit, or you can even take your bolster. Okay, we're going to take that left arm up and then hook it to the outside of your right knee. And remember, you can walk that knee in towards the center to make the rotation simpler, or out to the side if you want to have it a little bit more challenging for whatever reason that is. You're going to plant that right hand down to help keep your spine uplifted and straight, and rotate. You can go, if you can't reach the arm to the outside, just put your hand there, right? Yeah, that's okay.
My belly's in the way, I think.
Yeah, that's fine. You're not the only one. Do not try this pose later today. Okay, now we're gonna untwist and we're gonna rotate our chest towards the left side of the mat and then take your hand to your shoulder. If you can't have your hand to the outside of the knee, then what you're gonna do is this. You're gonna take your right arm to the outside of the elbow and pull it in. Why didn't I tell you this the first side? I don't know. But that'll be your homework. You can do it later at home. So loop it, or you're either gonna loop it around like this, or you have the elbow to the outside of your knee. Okay, if getting your elbow to the outside of the knee is not working, you're going to use your right hand. And if you have your elbow to the outside of the knee comfortably, move the knee to the right for more sensation, to the left for less sensation. Okay, and then come on out and then roll that shoulder around in one direction and then in the other direction. Okay. And then we're going to take the soles of our feet together, and you're going to have your heels far away from your groin. So not Baddha Konasana when we have our heels in pretty close. You're going to be a little further out. And then you're going to take your hands to your ankles. And this pose is called Tarasana. And what you're going to do is you're going to bend your elbows out to the side and reach your chin towards your toes, not on your toes, just in the direction of your toes. And when we do this, if you were to look at yourself from overhead, you would be kind of sort of in the shape of a six-pointed star. I mean, you're in a, just like, you know, the constellations, you look at them and like, how is that the twins? I don't know. How is that a bull? But somebody's imagination thought that. So imagine yourself, if you're looking from overhead, that you were in the shape of a six-pointed star, right? Your head is the top of one triangle, your tailbone is the top of the other triangle. And when we do the pose, just like when you were a kid and you made animal shapes with your body or hero shapes with your body, so you can embody the energy of it, in yoga we do the same thing. So we take the form of the symbol of the heart center so that we can feel into, experience, and understand what lies below the ignorance of our ego and our needs. right? Our needs, that I need to be somebody, I need to do the right thing. I need to do more than I'm doing. And I need to have it work out a specific way. Feel into the sensations you're feeling in your body. This is a big part of our practice, that we don't feel like they're good or they're bad. Of course, if they're pain, then we want to come out of it. But before you decide something is pain, pause and see it can actually be something not yet experienced in this body. And actually, if you think about it, there's so much that has not been experienced in their body, isn't there? So at some point, we don't seek to fulfill the experiences in our physical body. We seek to experience them in the energetic body. There's even more than hasn't been done there. Okay, let's come on up. And then you're going to straighten your legs out behind you, take your hands behind you, bend your knees and put your feet flat to the ground. And you're going to roll your shoulders back, lift your chest up and arch your back forward. So it's a nice counter to the pose that we just did. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel the sensations of this pose and maybe bend your elbows a little bit straight back behind you. And modify this so that there's not pain, but there is experience. This is something that we just can practice forever. There's experience. There may be discomfort, but it's not painful. Because a lot of times when discomfort is examined, we see, oh no, it's just experience. If you want, you're going to lift your hips up. But the same thing happens with your chest. The elbows bend back a little bit. Shoulder blades wrap around the upper chest and press it up. You can still, if you go there and you're like, come back down. It's okay. Each individual body will have to experience unity in a different way. Okay, let's soften out of this. And then we're going to take the legs back behind us. Actually, we're going to come up to stand. So however you have to get there, you're going to come up to stand. If you want to go through downward facing dog to step forward, you can do that. Yeah. That's about that one, right? Okay, don't do it yet, actually.
Yeah, you can do it.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay, we're gonna come into tree pose. And so we're not gonna go to a wall. I don't want you to use a wall if you can't balance. Instead of using a wall, what you're gonna do is just put your foot down like this. Like this, okay? The knee will point out, the heel will point in. All right, so put both feet down, take your hands apart, feel yourself as a conduit. This is the blessing of being in a human body. This is why they say being in the human body is the highest level of incarnation. As my teacher said, don't waste it. Because this is the highest. You may not know this, but you've been working lifetimes to get here. Some of you have been puppies, some of you have been kittens, some lizards, maybe cockroaches, I don't know, mosquitoes. All right, so you're in a human body. It means you are the conduit between earth and space. So feel the body like that. You are embodying the characteristics of the earth through the feet and the characteristics of space through the crown of your head. And in between all of those is in your body, earth, water, fire, air, remember in the heart center, and space in the throat, and beyond space above the head. We can take all of these elements into us and transform them into experience. But we think too much about it and we take it out of unification. So we're going to do the same thing with the hands. Let them be pulled together naturally. Pull together, pull together. Once they touch, it's like pushing that button. Remember that button in Staples? That was easy. This is reconciled experience. Turn off the mind. Isn't it great if we had a button like that that said turn off the mind, go into the heart? You do. It's called this mudra, Anjali mudra. Turn off the brain, turn off the thinking, and go into the space of the heart. Now imagine from this button that you've just pushed, light moves up through the center of your being to the crown of your head and down through your legs.
like a lightsaber. Softly open your eyes if they're not already. Find a place to bring your eyes to that is not moving. Soften your knees, drop your weight down, but also feel yourself being lifted. Experience, don't think. And then we're gonna come into a right-sided tree pose. So either pointing the knee out to the side, or you're gonna take your leg up. And start breathing. I don't know how much time it takes, so just keep reading. So we're in tree pose.
This is Evening by Jeremy Radin. Another word I love is evening, for the balance it implies. Balance being something I struggle with. I suppose I would like to be more a planet, turning in and out of light. It comes down again to polarities, equilibrium, evening. The moths take the place of the butterflies, owls the place of hawks, coyotes for dogs, stillness for business, and the great sorrow of brightness makes way for its own sorrow. Everything dances with its strict negation, and I like that. I have no choice but to like that. Systems are evening out all around us, even now, as we kneel before a new and ruthless circumstance. Where would I like to be in 5 years? Someone asks me. And what can I tell them? Surrendering with grace to the evening, with as much grace as I can muster to the circumstance of darkness, which is only something else that does not stay.
Gonna inhale, reach up. And exhale, fold over the legs.
Just let your head, neck, and shoulders hang. Experience.
And roll back up. Okay. Do we want the palm again on the left side, or do you want to do it in stillness? Do you want the poem again on the left side, or do you want to do it in stillness? Poem, okay,
Same poem.
same poem.
Good.
That way we're even. Okay.
No, that's a good poem to hear twice.
Yeah.
Did you memorize it?
I'm sorry?
Did you memorize it?
No.
Okay, hands to the heart, not hands out from the heart. Let the magnetic pull bring you back to the center. Forget about what your thoughts are, forget about what is right and wrong. Just feel the attraction of the individual to the unified state, the individual to the eminent. It wants you to return to it. The universe wants you to return to it as much as you want to go back. Hear that? It wants you back as much as you want to go. Love wants you to fall into its embrace as much as you want it. So what's keeping you there? Who knows? All right, softly open the eyes if you want. If it was helpful, that lightsaber goes up and down. And then bring your eyes to something that's not moving. Turn your left leg out. Maybe you stay here. You might come up. It is okay to fidget in this pose. And if your feelings are like, I'm so much more thinking about my balance than the words I'm going to hear, put your toes down. You don't want to miss it. You know, this is the last time you're going to hear it.
Evening. Another word I love is evening, for the balance it implies. Balance being something I struggle with. I suppose I would like to be more a planet, turning in and out of light. It comes down again to polarities, equilibrium, evening. The moths take the place of the butterflies, owls the place of hawks, coyotes for dogs, stillness for business, and the great sorrow of brightness makes way for its own sorrow. Everything dances with its strict negation, and I like that. I have no choice but to like that. Systems are evening out all around us, even now, as we kneel before a new and ruthless circumstance. Where would I like to be in 5 years? Someone asks me. And what can I tell them? Surrendering with grace to the evening, with as much grace as I can muster to the circumstance of darkness, which is only something else that does not stay.
Down, inhale the arms up, and exhale, fold forward and down. Okay, walk yourself to the front of the mat if you're not already. Take your feet wide apart. And we're gonna step the right foot back, long, bend your front knee. We're gonna come into warrior one. Now, you don't have to have your hands overhead. You can have your hands at the heart, if that gives you something. Your front knee is gonna be bent a lot. And you might have to take your feet wider apart. You might have to take socks off if you find that you're slipping and you have socks on your mat. This right leg is all the way to the right side of the mat. Your left leg's all the way to the left side of the mat, and your toes are turned in. Make sure those back toes are turned in, because that's what helps to propel us forward. Because what does this forward movement mean to us in asana, in yoga? It means we are propelling forward away from ignorance, but doing that by staying in the present. So head is right over the tailbone. Feel your breath. Remember, the breath is helping you to experience. If you would like to take your hands behind you, heels of the hands together, knuckles interlaced, another heart opener, yoga mudra. Squeeze the upper arms together. Lift the heart center up. And soften the tongue. Remember, you are still the conduit between form in the earth and formlessness in the space. Once again, the dualities coming together at the heart center. If you're a visual person, visualize that six-pointed star again. Form rises, formlessness descends. At some point it comes together. Okay, take the arms up, straighten the leg. Hands to the heart, and we're gonna step the back leg forward. And then we're gonna step the left leg back. Same pose, warrior one. Bend the front knee, hands to the heart or overhead. Try to have the same setup with your feet. They're wide apart. The back toes are turned in. The front knee is bent deeply. Hands can be overhead, prayer position, or behind you in yoga mudra, or even reverse prayer if you practice that and it's accessible for you at this moment. Tapasya, the effort of being in this pose, is just a fraction of the tapasya required to let go of the ignorances that prevent us from knowing the love, from stepping into the space that desires us as much as we desire it. So we take a little bit of Tapasya in the physical form, effort, heat. You should feel your quadriceps working. You should feel your back ankle stretching. Make sure that back heel is firmly planted into the ground. Head is right over the tailbone. So the sensations we feel in the body are not just something to reconcile as just being, but the effort also helps with the alchemical reaction to burn away ignorances. Heat is required to transform. If you have not transformed your turkey from raw into cooked, you're going to need a lot of heat. And then let's step forward. Inhale the arms up. Feel that heat like a lightsaber running up from the heart to the head and to the fingertips, down from the heart through the legs, and then exhale, fold over your legs. Let the head, neck, and shoulders drop. And soften the knees, roll up to stand. Okay, we're gonna do another pose of Tapasya, and this is called goddess pose. And we're gonna all take the left foot and step it back. And you're gonna have your feet wide apart. You can turn your toes out a little bit. It's kind of recommended to turn your toes out a little bit. And then you're gonna bend your knees and they're gonna point out towards your toes. Hands come to either side of the heart. And fill that space with your desire for freedom. Because maybe that's how you term it. The freedom to let go of the doing that just keeps us suffering. Let go of the doing that causes individuality. So there's the doing, right? But what is it? How much of what you're doing? Because we have to do something. How much of your doing is supporting the individual? How much of your doing is creating a stronger personality? How much of your doing is letting go of the personality, is burning the personality? You still have personality, of course, because you still need to be who you are in this world. But how attached are you to it? Can you show up, especially today, when you might be with family and friends or not? Can you show up a little differently today? Can somebody say the thing that irritates you and today it doesn't irritate you? Because it's not threatening your personality. It's not threatening your individuality. Can you let it dissolve? This is all the alchemical reaction actions. We let these things dissolve. And then when they dissolve, when they're released, they become neutral energy. So all that stuff going on in your legs, feel it. It's serving a purpose. Imagine all of that work in your legs going right into the heart center and burning the veils of individuality. Okay, so go ahead and straighten the legs. Turn your toes in now and fold over your legs. Remember, keep breathing because it's the medium that allows us to go back into experiencing. It's the wind that gives us the awareness that something is happening. We're always, if we really stop to think about it, we know that our mind is moving all the time, but we're not aware of it as much, except if it's moving in a way that that's really, really upsetting. It's always moving. It's always moving. And if we keep letting it move, then when it settles upon and sticks on something that's just upsetting or that makes us the individual, if we know it's going to move out of that place too. It's not going to be forever that you're thinking about that thing. It's not going to be forever that you're suffering something. Bend your knees, softly roll up.
But if we don't start to consider moving deeper into the heart, there's one suffering is just gonna replace another, gonna replace another. Okay, let's come down to sit. And then lay down on your back. Once you're down on your back, hug your knees into your chest. And what is all this work for? So we can become a better person. So you're on your back, your knees are hugged into your chest. It's a trap, isn't it? Because if we're a better person, that means we're doing something to benefit the ego. We can't get away from it unless we recognize that the more work we do on burning the ignorance, the more we do that, the more it is serving the whole. The more steps you take towards wholeness, the bigger wholeness becomes. It becomes a bigger target for everybody. Okay, let's put the feet down to the ground. And you're going to have your arms alongside your body, turn your palms to face up. Try to roll your shoulder blades underneath you so they're flat on the ground like feet. And then we're going to come into some rolling bridges. So you're going to push your lower back into the ground strongly. Feel how your abdominals engage and your gluteals engage. And then you're going to start to roll your hips up, one vertebrae at a time. When you come to the very top, you're going to pause there, take a deep inhale, and then you're going to exhale, roll down. I'd like you to think that every time you do this, you are getting a little bit more mobile in the spine and a little bit higher each time. And if you need to stop and rest with your knees into your chest, it's absolutely fine. Go and fall into the non-doing, the literal non-doing, whenever you need to, and celebrate that.
Yes, It Will Rain, or Prayer for Our First Home by Patrick Rosal, to Mary Rose. Here is our little yard, too small for a pool or chickens, let alone a game of tag or touch football. Then again, this stubborn patch of crabgrass is just big enough to get down flat on our backs with eyes wide open and face the whole gray sky just as a good drizzle begins. I know we've had a monsoon of grieving to do, which is why I promise to lie beside you for as long as you like or need. We'll let our elbows kiss under the downpour until we're soaked like two huge nets left beside the sea, whose heavy old ropes strain, stout with fish. If we had to, we could feed a multitude with our sorrows. If we had to, we could name a loss for every other drop of rain. All these foreign flowers that you plant from pot to plot with muddy fingers, passion, jasmine, tuberose. We'll sip the dew from them. My darling, here is the door I promised. Here is our broken bowl. Here, my hands in the home of our dreams, the windows open in every weather, doused or dry. May we never be so parched.
Next time you come down, draw your knees into your chest. Transfer both hands to your right knee and stretch your left leg up to the ceiling. Press the heel up. Try to keep your lower back down, even if that means you don't straighten your leg quite as much. Right? So if you find that when you straighten your leg, your lower back curls up, bend your knee so that you can keep that lower back on the ground. Feel into the sensations. For some of you, it's going to be the stretch in the back of the leg. For some of you, it's going to be the work to draw the leg towards straight. Heel should be hovered over your hip, so 90 degrees to your body. Okay, let's touch that foot down to the ground now, and you are gonna hook your right ankle over the top of your left thigh. Press your right knee away from you. If you have any knee issues, you're gonna stay here, or you're gonna straighten out the left leg and let the right ankle follow, or you're gonna pull your knees into your chest. Keep breathing and experience the experience. So we go back into the heart. So if we think about our usual pattern of movement of energy is like somebody says something to us and we think about it, and then it stays in the brain, it stays in the mind, it stays in the limbic system. If somebody says something to us and we feel it, it goes into the heart. Now, the heart is said to be the great recycling plant of the body. It's got a luminous light that will dissipate the energy into neutral energy. Neutral energy becomes spiritual energy, and you don't have to react to it. But if it goes into the mind, it is stuck there in whatever web we have created over our lifetime. All right, let's change legs. Take both legs, stretch them up to the sky, shake them out. Bend your knees into your chest. Hold on to your left knee now and stretch your right leg up to the ceiling. Remember, the heel is moving up. And if you have to bend your knee, that's fine. You'll be working more on the strength of your hip flexors and your quadriceps than on the stretch in your back of your leg. But just feel something that has to do with the pose. Feel it and let the sensations guide you back into the heart. And the more we train ourselves, when some kind of something triggers us, the trigger could be good or bad, right? Doesn't necessarily have to be that we're gonna see red or anything like that. Something triggers it, it brings our attention to it, like, oh, what's that? If we can train ourselves to take it to the heart rather than to the mind, we will find another tapasya, another effort, another alchemical response, and we will find we can stay in the heart much more, and our ignorances will dissipate. So try to feel what you're feeling. Feel what you're feeling. Breathe, let it happen. Okay, let's put the foot down and your left foot down, and you're going to hook the right ankle over the top for the pigeon pose. Did I say that right? Yeah. Do the other side, the side that you didn't do the first time. So your left knee is pushing away from you, your right foot's on the ground. You might stay here, or you're going to pull everything into your chest for a pigeon pose. This can be an intense pose for some of us, and so it gives us more a chance to experience, to feel, to do the work of the heart, which is to feel. To do the work of the heart, which is to reconcile. Because isn't it true when somebody says something to us and it triggers us in a negative way or even a positive way, it's going to some kind of differentiation, right? Isn't that true? Somebody says something to you and it annoys you. It's usually because they're taking themselves and making themselves separate from you. Or they're making you separate from them. That happens to us as kids a lot, right? The other kid tells us you're not as good as me, you're not as cool as me, you're not as popular as me. Something that makes us different and separate from the whole. And if we experience the pain of that, that will also put us into the heart. If we experience pain of it rather than thinking about it, it puts us into the heart. Okay, let's take the legs up, stretch them out, shake them out. Okay, you're gonna come up to sit because I'm gonna show you the next thing we're gonna do because it's gonna be a restorative pose. We're gonna be in it for a while, so I want you to be really comfortable with it. I'm gonna give you two options. One option is you're gonna take your two blocks, and I'll come around if you're here and I'll help you with this if it doesn't make sense. You're gonna make a little staircase. with it, and you're gonna put it at the front end of your mat, and then you're gonna take your bolster and you're gonna put it over that. Then you're gonna sit down with your sit bones are gonna be on the ground, your sacrum's gonna be by the edge of the bolster, and you're gonna lay down like this. Now, you see what I'm doing with my legs is I can either have them in Tarasana, so the heels are a little bit away from the groin, Baddha Konasana, or you can have your knees together and your feet apart. And if you're not here and you don't have stuff, wait, if you are here and you have stuff, that's one option. Another option is that you take the two blocks, they're at the same height, which I recommend to start with the lowest. You put one block under your shoulder blades and the other block under your head, and your arms hang out like this. Not like this one. Don't look at that one. Look at this one. And these are hard openers of variations of Matsyasana. Do what's comfortable with your legs. Again, your knees can be together and your feet apart, or your feet together and your knees apart. Remember, you want to choose a position similar to in the beginning. Like I said, if you knew you had to be here for 40 minutes, would that be okay? You won't be here for 40 minutes, but it may feel like 40 minutes. I want to make sure that you're comfortable. If you don't have props at home, then you're going to lay down on your back with the soles of your feet together, or your knees together and your feet apart, your hands on your belly. You can also be a little bit more active and prop yourself on your elbows and let your head drop back. So you're doing Matsyasana without any blocks. And then take your awareness to your heart center. We're not going to put the palms in the mudra that we've been working with right now, because well, first of all, you're not going to be able to do that all the time in walking around the world, but also because it's not so comfortable. But I'd like you to bring your awareness there, and that funnel that we created with the hands, let that funnel be now in your awareness. Pretend that when you breathe in, imagine that when you breathe in, the energy of unification is spiraling, drilling into the heart center, clearing away all ignorances of the importance of your individuality. You can still have your individual personality, you'll need it, but can you let go of the importance of it?
My mom's been asking for a happy poem all my life, by Jennifer Devon. So I fight all my destructive urges to give her one. A tiny globe filled with first snow I'm determined not to shatter across blacktop. Once in the parking lot of Home Depot, we got into the blue van and everything felt off, uncanny. A fast food wrapper from a place we hadn't eaten. The dashboard dustier than it should have been. It took us a full 30 seconds, Mom in the driver's seat, though she hadn't driven in years, me in the passenger, her ride or die since I was a little girl, and one of her only friends in our strange and tiny border town, before we realized this isn't our van. And we scrambled out, laughing our heads off and terrified. The owner had called the cops on the women who looked like twins, carjacking them. We laugh about it every time we're in the parking lot. That wasn't our only Lucy and Ethel moment. There was the time we ordered what we thought was a roll from the drive-thru at Panera Bread, thinking we'd share it to split the calories. But when the server handed it to us, the long, thin bread kept coming through the window. Mom and I thought baguette meant roll. It sounded petite. And although this poem's only point is to make Mom happy, it's also to heal something in myself I hadn't known needed a balm until the words hit the page. The way moms know the way mine sent me flowers when the love of my young life got another girl pregnant and left me heartbroken and without a prom date. Or when mom gave me a gold nutcracker pin after the ballet recital when all the other girls got flowers. And I shoved the beautiful pin back at her because it wasn't flowers. And she said, flowers wilt. I wanted to get you something that would last forever. Like her love. A poem can be sentimental because poems are filled with life. But sometimes we need to look our moms in the eyes and apologize or say thank you. Our moms remind us what it felt like when we were safe in their arms, even if our moms weren't safe, even if they were only holding it together for us to give us a happiness they'd created from thin air. Motherhood is made of that magic. I'm crying now. Mom, I promise, they're happy tears.
Let's draw the knees together if they're not already. Shake out your legs if you need to. We're going to come to lie flat on the ground now for Shavasana, and I encourage you to take your bolster for beneath your knees. Once you're down on the ground, have the bolster set up so it'll support your knees. Have a blanket over you if you like. Start this Shavasana now. I'd like you to put your hands to your heart center. Just lay them right down on top, or the mudra if you prefer. And it won't be the whole time unless for some reason that's very comfortable for you and you can stay that way. But start there just to remind you, yes, this space in my physical body means something. This space in my physical body is a portal to my reconciling everything that remains unreconciled. It's a portal to visiting the place where my individuality is not important. Where this is the place, the portal to where I can rest in wholeness. We actually rest here in this place of wholeness every night in dreamless deep sleep, which is why sleep is so vitally important. But it's nice to also take the time here, even when we're awake. And maybe you fall asleep and maybe you drop into that place of wholeness, of blackness. But with when we're awake, we also have the opportunity to remember what it feels like to be whole, so that when we get up and move around, we still have the energy of that wholeness. And when somebody says something that separates us from them, we can go, no, I'm going to press the Staples button. Shut off the mind and drop into the heart. Let yourself breathe up and down through the heart, like you had nostrils right at the center of your chest. And of course, this is not easy to maintain, but the one moment, the 1 second that you feel you can drop into the place of the heart, be grateful for that. Not resentful of all the times that you can't. Be grateful for that one taste. That one taste of unification, that one taste of dissolution of the individual into the whole. Okay, we are going to have one more poem. It's a long one, and you can choose to stay laying down or come up to sit. If you're going to come up to sit, take your time to move your fingers and toes and hands and feet and arms and legs. And then you'll sit up on your cushion in a meditative seat. You can continue to lay down.
If I'm awake, I'm probably eating. I can't stop. Blame my mother, who would see book light after midnight oozing beneath my bedroom door and drag me in my pajamas to the local diner at 8 years old for a California burger, lettuce, tomato, and fries, and a pale wedge of cherry cheesecake as wide as a pirate galleon under full sail. Blame my father, who would wake me at 5 to drive his old black Plymouth just 3 blocks from home to his luncheonette where, 12 years old, I juiced oranges the size of softballs for the first 20 or so counter customers, then hurried off to Lincoln Junior High with a rare roast beef on rye for lunch and a greasy number 6 paper sack of fries to gobble on the way. Blame it on all the restaurants in which I wielded a knife through high school and college, working breakfast shifts and dinners and overnights with cooks who napped with cigarettes smoldering between their fingers, so when the butts burned low, they'd wake in time to rescue from the oven a sizzling 15-pound brisket that, hours later, would be the lunch special with scalloped potatoes. Blame it on Freud, who blamed, of course, my mother for not nursing me, though her passion for cork-tipped Herbert Tarleton cigarettes led me to a marijuana haze and hashish stupor and forever on the hunt for potato chips or Malamars or pretzel rods or fig Newtons or everything bagels with scallion cream cheese or anything at all sweet or salt or tart or crunchy or could be made to be, like a crisp slab of matzah lathered with crunchy peanut butter, topped with banana rounds, each dotted with a tiny, dark turban of chocolate. Blame it on life's mysteries that won't let me sleep, that fall dreamlike through my fingers like paperbacks, to waken me even today into moonlight that beckons me along the hall, into another 3 a.m. kitchen, to ravage the freezer for a hidden pint of pistachio, or a back of the fridge potato knish, or a not yet spoiled, week-old bowl of rigatoni with gleaming garlic and broccoli rabe, or a chicken cutlet, pink-fleshed and raw, practically moaning for the boning knife, to sear in a Tuscany-scented olive oil splayed across a cast iron skillet, sparkling with sea salt and crushed black pepper. Or a half basket of scarlet strawberries silently simmering under a glistening balsamic glaze to be dolloped over that lost and found pint of Madagascar vanilla. Or a dazzling, ripe, sacred orange persimmon, wrinkle skin, oozing, as vibrant as sex. Or better still, the last of the flaky crusted cinnamon-laden apple pie our daughter baked before she left for college. Or anything at all, oh my darlings, that might tempt and satisfy half as much as her mother's morning kiss on my always hungry lips.
If you have not yet sat up, please do so, taking your time. So that last poem was a test to see how much you were able to feel. and how well your imagination can conjure up something.
Very well.
Very well, good. See, it works. Okay, so just feel it and be satisfied with the feeling. Take your hands to the side of your heart. Fill the space with your desire to be one with everything. Not the hot dog joke, but one with everything. All that you desire desires you to come home to the space of the heart. Let that natural magnetic pull draw the hands back together and pushing that button of the heart that says, yes, I open to experience unity, to experience the individual, which is not important. It's just another experience. To be plunged into the place of the heart, hit with the light of the heart, and dissolved into space. You can keep your hands like that or drop them to your lap. We are going to chant the closing mantra. The words are Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, which translated into English from the Sanskrit means may all beings in all realms of existence be happy and free. Recognizing that we all want the same thing, we all desire the same thing, at least on that place, we can all agree. This is what we all want. And this is the one thing that brings us together. And once together in that space, other things undoubtedly will become obvious to us. So if you know, please join. If you know the mantra, please join. If you don't, you can just listen and repeat all beings happy and free, including myself, all beings happy and free, including myself, like that. Or who knows, you may catch on. We're going to end also with Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti is peace. It creates the experience of peace. It creates the environment of peace, and it creates peace within the being that says it. Samasta Sukhi Shanti, Shanti. And if you'd like, hands back to the heart. This invocation gives gratitude and gratitude and gratitude to that place in our hearts that is the same in all hearts, the place that we are all one. Satguru Nanak Maharaj Ki Jai. This next invocation is to honor all of the movements in life that remind us the unimportance of this individual self and the importance of the greater whole. Jagadambe Mata Ki Jai. Jai. Om Shanti. Thank you, everybody, very much for starting your day here, for your donations to the food pantry, for your practice, your willingness to
You're on mute.
take your hands to your heart, all that stuff. Have a great Thanksgiving, and classes will be as usual for the rest of the weekend. And we have some more stuff coming up. We have open house on the 1st and winter solstice and some other stuff coming up. So stay tuned. There's a jar on the desk if you'd like to make a donation. Anybody interested in taking a group picture? We've never done that. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Thank you, Bonnie. It was
Thank you, guys.
wonderful. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.
That's Barbara.
That's Barbara. So I'm gonna, if we can take a group picture, that would be a lot of fun. Where should we go is the question. I guess against this wall.
Don't worry about your hair. Because it just means you have yoga hair, and that's what we're looking for.
Generally don't worry about my hair.
Yeah.
Like 42.
I know, the Yoga Sutras will be perfect for this. All answers are in the Yoga Sutras.
That's true. There you go.
I advertise for them.
It's solar on our roof, yeah. Our solar company, bankrupt.
These guys are taking
Bankrupt solar panels.
They just need to be charged.
They are fun.
Hey, are we Anjali? Everybody's, yes, Anjali Mudra. Everybody say cranberry.
Cranberries.
Everybody say turkey.
Turkey.
Everybody say tofurkey.
Turkey.
Holiday rose. Everybody say your favorite Thanksgiving meal. Food.
Mashed potatoes.
Pumpkin pie. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Every kind of stuff.
Color is so fine.
Pie.
Pie pie.
All day long.
He's still working. So we can look at the data for the house, right?
And also, if anybody wants the recording, I'll just send out the link to everybody, so you don't have to contact me.
But we need.
When did you?